Feel free to walk around, talk among the various tables, help yourself to the food and beverage that Cindy has set out for you over there. As questions arise, sharp.
If it's too hot in here, raise your hand.
I'm turning on the system.
Okay.
This isn't hot.
Now what?
This isn't hot.
Don't turn the whole thing on.
Don't you have to do them all together? So those three will do
Why
this
don't we
half.
go ahead and
Do I
kick
have
off
to
the
turn that one
evening
on
with
and around?
a prayer. And so if you'll join me, I have a prayer up here that we can use. So please, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Lord God,
we thank you for the abundance of time,
talent, and treasure you have given us. We ask you to help us to be responsible stewards of your gifts. We ask you to bless us with the courage, generosity, and selflessness
to help us share and multiply these gifts for the glory of your name. Let us not be afraid. Let us not bury our gifts. Let us recognize and name these gifts in ourselves and in one another.
Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Too late to stand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Feel free to stand up. You can't see. This is our agenda for this evening. We're going to spend just a little bit of time, take some time to introduce you to some of the aspects of the various committees here this evening. That's what this evening is all about. To share with you perhaps the standing of the Pastoral Council, the status of the Pastoral Council and the standing committees that are involved with the council. We're going to introduce the new members, at least those that are here this evening. Spend a little time getting to know them, go through a little bit of an orientation, and then we're going to talk about the way those standing committees and the Pastoral Council are organized. We won't spend a lot of time on that. Talk a little bit about diocesan resources and what is available to everyone. You know, there's really a wealth of information, and you'll be surprised that you can find a lot of that at one location, and I'll introduce you to that if you're not already aware of it. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time talking among the various committees. Perhaps if we can get a spokesperson from each of the standing committees to think about just what's going on in their committees now, they can share that with the group. If there's nothing to discuss, just say pass, all right? When we get down to that point, we'll just float around the room and see what's happening. There's a bit of news regarding parish life, and Rick's going to introduce the committee members for parish life, and we'll share that with you tonight. We're going to spend a little bit of time just in question and answer. If there are any questions out there, I'm sure we can find people, certainly not myself, that have answers for you. And then Rick's going to take us through an exercise where we're going to take a look at committee metrics and how to develop metrics actually for the matrix.
Yeah,
in general.
we're going to tie up some of the top level ones, but then I have other committees to start thinking about their own.
Okay. We're going to close with a prayer and a few announcements, and that's our evening. So feel free to, like I mentioned earlier, feel free to walk about and make yourself comfortable, and we'll go ahead and get started. So Rick, if I could have you lead us off with an icebreaker, we'll do that.
Okay, we're going to do a little exercise called traffic jam. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we're going to break up into 4 smaller groups. If you were born in the first quarter of the year, January, February, March, let's gather over here. We'll just see how naturally we split up. If you were born in the second quarter, April, May, or June, right here. If you're born in the third quarter, July, August, or September, right here. If you were born in the fourth quarter, October, November, December, right here. I need one more person that wishes they were born in the first quarter. Thank you, Ben. Okay. So 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. You're okay. 2, 4, 6, 7. 4, 6, 8. Yes, look at that. One over here, move over here. So 8. 8. 8. Okay, great. Okay. Just take a couple of minutes to just introduce yourselves by name. Okay, who are you and why are you here? Are you in a committee? Did you were just interested? You decided to show up? Okay, just a couple minutes to get to know your name, because that's one of the things we want to get across here is we want to come away with learning each other a little bit better. Okay, real quickly, a couple minutes.
I'll be new on the big formation. I'm on the vocation center, I'm not sure where we are in that pipeline. And my husband and I have a life team.
Pastoral council. Name was a good one. All the white bookers. May 24th.
Okay, wrap it up in the next 30 seconds. Okay, around the room you're going to find 4 sets of arrows, okay? There's one there, there's one back there, there's one in the middle, and there's one there. So just, if each team would go to one set, okay, what I want each person to do is either stand on an arrow or straddle it and face the direction that the arrow is pointing. I think this worked out perfectly. We should have 32 arrows and 32 people. Okay? Amazing. Okay. Okay, so you should be facing the way that arrow is pointing, and that's the way you will face for this entire exercise. All right? Okay, so the goal. Here's the goal. The challenge is for all the members that are on the left of center to end up on the right side, and the ones that are on the right side to end up on the left side. Okay? Now we only have a couple of legal moves. Okay, so here are some rules. Okay? Only one person can move at a time. And in order to control that, the team is going to announce who's going to move, okay? That's the way we're going to learn each other's names a little bit better, too. Okay? So we shouldn't hear 12 different people's names being yelled, okay? Okay, you'll have to decide who's going to move, say that person's name, and then that'll be their permission to move. All right? Again, everybody's feet remains pointed in their original direction. There is only one person allowed per square. Right? One person allowed per square. There are 2 legal moves. If there is an empty space directly in front of you, you can move on to that. So for instance, right now, Sue or Janet could both move on to the center. Okay? One of you could. Okay? That's a legal move. The other is you can do a single jump around a person that's facing the opposite direction to an empty square. So in other words, a checker jump. Okay? Everybody understand that? So it's basically the moves you can do are like checkers, okay? Except we just allow, well, we only have one empty spot, so we can only do one jump, okay? Okay? So move on to an empty space, or, for example, if Sue, if you moved onto the empty space, Janet could jump over you, okay? Illegal moves are backwards, Illegal moves are jumping somebody that's facing the same direction as you. Okay? Now, if you get yourself into a can't-win situation, okay? You've moved and you've figured out, oh, darn, okay, we're stuck, okay? Everybody just yell cats and go back to your original starting point and try again. All right? When you think you have it solved, okay? When you think you have it solved, go help one of the other teams that's still struggling on it, okay? Our goal is going to be to get everybody to get this solved, okay? Begin.
Alternate, like Sue goes first and then I go over her.
You can't jump somebody who's facing, is that right?
That's the only
Same direction?
Yeah.
So everybody will just be,
Oh, you
Did you
gotta
say Janet? Did I hear Janet? Troublemaker already.
Oh, I see. We're supposed to know what we're doing.
The team should move.
Okay, Jim.
Jim,
And
Sue.
now should it be Tom?
Tom should be next.
And now,
I was gonna say.
so now would it be Jim?
Yeah.
We need to push one person all the way to the end.
You can't go backward. I can move up one.
Could be on the same spread.
Nope.
No, Johnny, you are here.
But then you could come here. So,
See, we're bogged down.
Well, maybe not.
But they're
No.
okay.
I think
You never
you
have
need
to.
Ron now. I
Yeah.
think that's where you're old. Tom must move forward. Wait, no.
we want Charlotte.
Char has to go.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, now I have to go, because we want her here. This is a definite.
Okay.
So I'm gonna move forward, like red, and then say Sue. Sue's in, she's good.
So.
And Char?
Cats.
Start over.
Is it that way, or do we send one person all the way, send one person all the way?
You can move forward and back.
Not backward.
We can't move back, we can't move back. So, Sue, move forward one, or Janet, jump.
Then Sue move forward one and Jim jump?
Yeah, then you can jump.
Oh, no.
If I move forward.
Janet comes forward.
I think so.
This is where it was before.
Right.
Yeah, because we're bogged
There's
down.
nobody go backwards.
Can one person move forward?
No.
I'm trying to negotiate that out.
Cats.
We need to try and get space.
This is not my plan.
Tom jumps.
So Janet.
Hey, we always have cats. Now Jim jumps,
Now we're stuck.
and Sue moves forward.
Yeah, but then we move forward and then charge them. But then it's where we were.
These two are stuck.
Oh,
They're both facing the same
Char,
direction.
Char moves forward? Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get stuck right here.
But
Cats,
as we empty this end of it,
first person, rather than step forward, we need to do a jump.
Let's try it.
There's an empty spot.
In your sled bar.
So,
Yeah, you can. Sure you could.
Tom would jump over the spot.
Oh, that's it. You can't jump over somebody who's facing the same direction.
First move is fine. But you're not telling us this is impossible.
But
Is there any rules against using your smartphone to Google it?
say that.
The youth one.
So let's reset.
Ask.
We have a winner. Okay, now, you guys have to practice it again. You got it, or can you go help another team?
Oh, we can always help.
Okay.
We're supposed to help them be successful.
Oh, so that you
Guys,
shift
yes,
his
split up.
body this way, but
Remember what the secret was?
three of us here.
Jason, what did you
Because there
say?
will be two, well,
Going the same way.
I can't get it.
Just remember, you have 2 in a row.
Can't have two in a row.
Yeah, go in the same direction.
Same, you have two in a row going in the same direction.
So that means, oh, ever?
If you do, well, no, I say if you get 2 in a row, then you're stopped. Well, we have 4 in a row now. Well, that is when you got that place. I say if you get 2 in a row.
After that,
Right, remember how we did this?
We have to.
Sue Ford first, and then Janet came around.
yeah.
And it was,
Who has to
Sue
go?
has to move forward again,
That would break two.
and then Tom went around, right? Then we had the next.
2 in a row.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so
Tom
then
to
Jim.
go, then you have to move up. Now Ben's got to move up. That's right.
Oh,
and then
No,
Janet jumped.
No, wait, no,
no,
you're
because
right.
Jim should have moved. It should
Before
have been
that.
Jim.
Go back, Cat.
I'm trying to remember my mind. People were
yeah, report.
I think, no, Jim, you move up. You move up
Yeah, that's
first.
right. That is.
So somebody just stepped over
Around,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then,
Tom.
then Tom.
Now it's every other one. Yes, you'll have to move up.
Wait,
No.
Yeah, because whoever's on
Yeah.
the,
You always want to come from the outside in, because if you move out,
Yep.
you're either going to be back to back,
Then you get to 2 in a
or
row.
you're going to be back.
Yep. Done. Yep.
oh, so you can move up without going around.
Yeah. Like
Empty
checkers.
space.
Now I
It's
know.
an empty space. Jim,
Oh, that makes sense. And then
Char.
Char.
Okay, now we got another choice. Yep, move from the outside in. Yep.
That's,
Okay, now you're good.
Good shape, Ben.
Is that right?
we were almost there once.
Yep.
we needed help. We didn't do it on our own.
Who helped you?
Thank you for the help.
Thank you. With consistency. That's all right.
Always from the outside in. Come on in. Because if you move in, you'll have 2 choices and you're going to be back to back again.
Very good.
Now, Rita.
I didn't want to be there tonight. Thank you very much.
Julie. Gary. learn some new names, and you learn that if something's working well in your committee, don't assume every other committee has got it figured out. Okay? Don't be afraid to share your best practices. All right.
That was good. That was a lot of fun. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Who was the first team that got it? Was it over here? This group over here? We had different prize or anything. Great tips and stuff. This last May we had an election and the elected members, some of those are with us this evening. You've already been introduced to Rick. He was up here helping with the icebreaker. Todd Clancy is here. He's a new member on the Pastoral Council. And Chris Groves, who was unable to be here this evening. Faith Formation Commission, two new elected members, and they're both here. Rita Hayes, and Rosemary Wilson is back there at that back table. And then on the Catholic School Board, we have Jason O'Brien, and I saw Jason, he's right here, and Tricia Lenz. Tricia, welcome. Welcome to you all, and congratulations. I wanted to talk just a little bit about the structure of the Pastoral Council in a way that isn't all charts and graphs and stuff. To begin with, I wanted to go back just a little bit, not too far, but to talk a little bit about our recent history with the Pastoral Council. Here in the Dubuque Diocese, it started to take shape back when Archbishop Jerome Hannes promulgated the Vision 2000 document, and that was in 1999. This particular document was a guiding planning document for the Archdiocese and meant to carry us through the 21st century. A few years later, in 2009, he introduced a revision of a document that Daniel Kucera put out in 1985, and that was the Pastoral Council Guidelines. The new revised document is the one we're using today, and it's called the Manual for Parish Pastoral Councils. When the new members, at least those on the Pastoral Council, get started, Shar is going to put together a book for you and give you this manual and some other resources in that manual. What is the structure of the Pastoral Council today? Well, when this transition took place, when the revision took place with the Pastoral Council manual, the Parish Council went to a Pastoral Council in the sense that it went from, as you see up here, a hands-on kind of doer organization where we spent time reviewing reports and had a monthly activity focus and had more of a business approach into more of a visioning body. And since I was on, over the last 3 years while on the Pastoral Council, we've been in that mode. We went through developing a new mission statement just prior to becoming the chairman of the Pastoral Council. And then I helped, along with the members of the Pastoral Council, we got involved in a visioning process, and we owe a great deal of what we've done so far to Rick's involvement. Rick Bermeyer helped us go through that process, and it was very helpful for us to have somebody that has done it in a business climate help walk us through that. The committees changed also. There were 5 committees at the time, 5 standing committees they're called, and you see up here on the screen the committees were spiritual growth and liturgy, education, social concerns, parish community life, finance, and administration, and they evolved into liturgy, faith formation commission, worship in the areas of music, the environment, the liturgical ministers, and establish guidelines for baptisms, weddings, and funerals. The liturgy committee does not have a voting member on the pastoral council, and we ask that committee to submit to the council a written report. This is recommended by the diocese. They also recommend that if a report is not given, that they have a liaison appointed to that committee so that there's a sharing of information. We do both in this parish, at least we have. And so we have not only a liaison, but we also, Bob, for instance, is very good about sending forward the minutes, and I believe that Bill, as chair of the stewardship committee, sends forth some notes highlighting some of the accomplishments and proceedings of their particular meetings. But for each of these committees, we have liaisons as well, so that we can share the information that might be recently developing or very important to that committee. They want to make sure that the pastoral council is aware of what might be going on. So it might just be a bullet point or two that they share with the pastoral council, and so that seems to be working out very well. Faith Formation Commission, as you see, their role in very brief description of their role is to develop and oversee the comprehensive catechetical plan. Also to provide for lifelong faith formation. Separate Board of Education is also part of the Faith Formation Commission, and they have a chair on the pastoral council who is a voting member. The Stewardship Committee, as I mentioned before, is our newest committee, and their role is to promote stewardship as an expression of gratitude to God and a way of life for a disciple of Christ. Their role also is to foster a sense of belonging and ownership, and to promote stewardship of resources, to sponsor appreciation for those who offer their time, talent, and treasure. And their chair is also a voting member of the pastoral council. You're going to hear a great deal about what the stewardship committee is doing. I guess you already have, because they've begun this, I'm not sure what to call it, Bill. It's not a discipleship, a way of life. It's not a program. What do you call it? Just a movement?
It's an implementation of the U.S. Bishop's pastoral plan on stewardship.
Okay.
Other than that, it's spirituality.
It's a spirituality. Thank you. Thank you. Social Justice Committee, of course, continues Jesus' ministry through service to the marginalized and promoting justice and charity to all, providing opportunities for service. They help educate and motivate members on particular issues in the parish and outside the parish community, coordinate parish service programs, and offer a written report in the form of their minutes, their past minutes, to the pastoral council, and we have a liaison who is also part of that committee. The Parish Life Committee